He smiled before I did. And then, he didn't stop. I travel a lot for work conferences, client meetings, endless flights, and nights in forgettable hotels. After a while, the rooms all start to blur together. Beige walls, cold sheets, buzzing lamps, and a bathroom with that standard wide mirror above the sink. That's where it happened. I'd just flown into Minneapolis, dead tired but wired from airport coffee. I checked into the North River in a decent mid-range place that looked better in the pictures than in person. The front desk clerk handed me a key to room 509, top floor. I remember thinking the hallway smelled like wet carpet and lemon-scented cleaner. Not unusual. I dropped my suitcase, kicked off my shoes, and went straight to the bathroom to splash cold water on my face. I leaned over the sink, water dripping down my chin, eyes fixed on the mirror. That's when I noticed it. My reflection was a half-second off. At first, I assumed it was my imagination. But when I raised my right hand, it raised its hand just after me. Slightly delayed, like a laggy video call. I blinked. So did its off beat again. I leaned in closer, squinting. The lights flickered. I shook my head, dried off, and tried to forget it. Jet lag, maybe. Cheap hotel lighting. I grabbed my phone and called my wife to check in. We talked about the usual stuff, her day at work. The dog and I didn't mention the mirror. I didn't want to sound weird. Later that night, I brushed my teeth. The mirror seemed fine this time. I leaned down to rinse. When I looked up, my reflection was already staring at me. I froze. I hadn't lifted my head yet. The guy in the mirror was standing upright, eyes locked on mine. His face, my face, was blank, expressionless. Then slowly, deliberately, he smiled. I stumbled back, knocking my razor off the counter. The sound of it clattering on the tile jolted me, and I looked back up. Everything was normal. I was staring at myself again, just standing there. Same expression, same timing, same movements. I laughed nervously. Get a grip, I told myself. You're exhausted. But that night I barely slept. Every time I shut my eyes, I pictured that smirk. Like he was enjoying something I hadn't figured out yet. The next morning I had an early meeting, so I got up around 6. Sunlight was just starting to creep in around the heavy curtains. I went to the bathroom, half asleep, to shave. And the second I looked into the mirror, I froze again. There was something off. At first I couldn't pinpoint it, but then I realized the reflection wasn't holding the razor. I looked down. It was in my hand. But in the mirror, my hand was empty. I dropped the razor. It hit the sink with a metallic thud. My heart was pounding. In the reflection, he smiled again, this time wide. Way too wide. I stepped back from the sink. Slowly. The man in the mirror didn't. He just stood there, still and grinning, eyes locked on me. I backed out of the bathroom and closed the door. I didn't open it again that morning. I showered at the gym across the street. When I returned later that evening, I told the front desk there was something wrong with the mirror in my room, flickering, strange distortion. Whatever excuse I could come up with, I asked to change rooms. The clerk hesitated, then said, "Room 509, right?" I nodded. He sighed. "Yeah, we've had complaints about that mirror before. You're not the first." I blinked. "Complaints about what?" He glanced around like he wasn't supposed to talk about it, and leaned in and whispered, "People say they see someone in there who isn't them." I asked if they'd replaced the mirror. He just shook his head. Said it always comes back looking the same, no matter what they do. They moved me to 414. No mirror weirdness there, just a normal forgettable room. I tried to put it out of my mind. Told myself stress and suggestion were powerful things. Maybe I'd convinced myself something was wrong. But here's the thing. That night, I FaceTimed my wife before bed. We talked for a few minutes, laughed, said goodnight. Just as I went to hang up, the screen glitched for a second. The camera froze, and in the frozen frame, I saw myself. But I wasn't holding the phone. I was just standing there, smiling. I checked out the next morning. I haven't stayed in a hotel since. But every now and then, I catch my reflection moving just a little too slowly. I don't wait around to see if he smiles. I should have left the second the elevator doors refused to open on the 3rd floor, but I forced them open anyway. Wish I hadn't. It was was later on 11:45 p.m. when I finally pulled into the parking lot of the Ridgeway Inn. I was exhausted from driving all day, and this place was the only vacancy I could find within 30 miles. It was the kind of motel you don't want to spend more than one night in. Buzzing fluorescent lights, flickering ice machine in the corner, and a weird chemical smell in the air. But I didn't care. I just wanted to sleep. The clerk at the front desk looked half asleep himself. He didn't ask for much besides my ID and credit card. After tapping at the keyboard a few times, he slid a key card across the counter and said, "Room 313, third floor, end of the hall." I remember that specifically because it struck me as odd. Most hotels skip the number 13 altogether, superstition or whatever. I was too tired to care. I took the rickety elevator up. When the doors opened, I stepped out into a long hallway that was somehow darker and colder than the lobby below. The walls were this sickly beige color, and the carpet felt slightly damp under my shoes. I passed rooms 308, 309, 310. Then there was a weird stretch of blank wall. At first I thought I'd missed it, but then, just around the corner at the very end, there it was, 313. The keycard beeped green on the first try. Inside, the room was off. It wasn't dirty exactly, but it felt forgotten. The wallpaper was peeling near the ceiling. The air was stale, heavy, like it hadn't been aired out in years. The bed was neatly made, but the blanket was tucked so tightly it almost seemed forced, like it was hiding something beneath. But again, I was tired. I dropped my bag, used the bathroom, and turned on the TV to drown out the silence. That's when the phone rang, not my cell, the room phone. It was that old-style landline next to the bed. I stared at it for a second, confused. Then I picked it up. Hello. There was silence, but not complete silence. I could hear breathing. Not heavy or aggressive, just faint. Steady breathing, like someone on the other end didn't know they'd called anyone. Then, a click. I hung up, trying to shake the weird feeling creeping up my spine. Maybe the front desk accidentally dialed me. I'd ask in the morning. I tried to fall asleep, but the room didn't want me to. About 15 minutes later, I heard scratching, soft at first, like nails against fabric. It was coming from the wall behind the bed. First I thought it was the plumbing, or maybe a rat, but then it got louder, more rhythmic, like tapping. Sat up and listened. 3 taps. Silence. 3 taps again, then a whisper. Hello. I froze. It wasn't from the wall, it was from the closet. I stared at the closet door. It was closed, but just barely. A thin sliver of darkness showed between the frame and the door, like someone hadn't fully shut it. Hello? The voice whispered again, this time slightly louder. It was my voice. I bolted, grabbed my bag and yanked open the door to the hallway, slamming it behind me. I sprinted to the elevator and jabbed the button until the doors opened. As they slid closed, I saw the door to room 313 slowly creaking open. Back in the lobby, the night clerk looked surprised to see me. I told him someone had gotten into my room, that there was whispering coming from the closet. I was rattled, but trying to stay calm. He looked confused. Then his brow furrowed. Sir, which room did I give you again? 313, I said. You wrote it on the card? He stared at me, then pulled the logbook around and flipped a few pages. Sir, we don't have a room 313. The hotel only goes up to 312. Look, he turned the book to show me. Floor plan ended at 312. I didn't believe him. Insisted he come up with me. We took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Walked the hall together. 308, 309, 310, 311, 312, and then nothing, just a solid wall. No corner, no door, no 313. I swear I started, but he shook his head. That room was sealed off years ago, he said quietly. There was an incident, a guest, something happened. Management bricked it up and removed it from the system. No one's supposed to go in there. I pulled out the key card and showed him. He turned pale. I didn't give you that key, he whispered. We destroyed the keys to that room. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Sat in the lobby with the lights on, refusing to go back up. When morning came, I left without checking out, without breakfast. I just wanted to forget. Last night I stayed in a different hotel, 3 states away, and when I opened the nightstand drawer this morning. Inside was a keycard.